This film will explain what depression is and make suggestions for things to do when you are experiencing it. People do not always know what depression is or what it entails, and there is a blurry line between depression and sadness. Understanding depression can help you normalise your experiences and offer up some behavioural solutions you can attempt in response. It will help you to understand depression and suggest ways in which to respond to it. Depression can happen to anyone, but there are some factors or experiences that can make it more likely to happen, such as in this case, a bereavement. It is important to note that all-consuming sadness after a bereavement is very normal and entirely appropriate considering the circumstances. People sometimes query what the difference is between sadness and depression, and it is a bit of a blurry line. However, there are certain things that may be experienced when people are depressed that make it different to sadness alone. People who are depressed may experience some of the following difficulties: a persistent low mood lasting a few weeks, trouble sleeping, low energy levels, loss of interest in activities or hobbies, changes in appetite, difficulty concentrating, thoughts of life not being worth living anymore. People who are depressed can find they are thinking very negatively about themselves, others, or the world in general. These thoughts can be all-consuming, and people may find themselves dwelling on particular thoughts, thinking regretfully about things that did or did not happen, or asking lots of why questions, which are a natural part of the grieving process. People who are experiencing depression may find it hard to stop having these types of thoughts, and this can be exhausting. It can also be hard to find the motivation to get up and do things when you are having these kinds of thoughts and feeling this way. And you may find that you stop doing things that normally help lift your mood. Sometimes this can lead to a vicious circle of depression. A vicious circle could look something like this. The way we think when we are low in mood can affect the way we feel and the things we do. Having thoughts such as, "things will never get better," or "I will never feel happiness again," could understandably make you feel very despairing and lonely. Feeling that way can be very unmotivating, and we may find ourselves drawn to isolating behaviours such as staying in bed or avoiding talking with others. When we are isolated, we are more likely to feel lonely and despairing, and also more likely to believe our thoughts of things never getting better or never feeling happiness again. When people experience depression, it is not unusual for their motivation to be very low and for them to find themselves doing less and less over time. How can I break out of the vicious cycle of depression? One of the first recommendations for people who are feeling low in mood is to increase their activity levels. This may be the opposite of what you feel like doing, but it can have a very positive effect. Increasing activity levels can in turn increase your energy levels and can help break an exhausting cycle of thoughts. An activity does not have to be a physical activity. It can also include doing activities for your mind. It is important to start small and take baby steps when deciding which activities to engage in. Picking an activity that is too overwhelming can actually make you feel worse, so we encourage you to start with the smallest step you could take. If you are in the initial stages of having lost a loved one, it may be that you have a lot of admin tasks that need to be completed. These can feel very overwhelming and act as unpleasant reminders of your loss. If this feels overwhelming, we would encourage you to allocate one admin task to each day to make the process more manageable. Some examples of activities you could try to increase your energy levels include going for a walk, visiting a friend, clearing out that cupboard you've been meaning to get around to for a while, engaging in a hobby you used to have, talking to someone, going to the cinema, meditating or listening to a relaxation CD. We have one of our own we would be happy to send you. These things can be done in small doses, but are definitely worth a try. Whatever you feel able to try, be kind to yourself. Judging ourselves for feeling low and unmotivated will not help, but showing yourself some compassion during a difficult time can help. And you don't know if something will help until you give it a go. So why not try one of the suggested activities today? This video has explained what depression is and how you can try to respond to it when it arises. Depression is a very understandable consequence of bereavement. Understanding the vicious cycle of depression can help you be kinder to yourself and motivate you to try out some mood-lifting activities. If you are suffering with any of the mentioned experiences on a persistent basis, it may be worth visiting your GP to seek some extra support.